barbershop conversation, guys. Thanks, Lincoln. Feel free hit the subscribe button. So I literally just caught up with uh, um, Derrick James' interview with Blue Blood, and coincidentally, I interviewed Bob Arum today, and very interesting. And the reason why it's very interesting. Well, first I want to say too, yeah, Derrick, I had the audio was so bad because audio was so bad in the second half of that interview. It would have been piercing people's ears, and I didn't want to post it. But you did give great information in that interview, similar to what you gave Blue Blood. But here's what I learned, and let's undress this and unpack this for a certain, so we can understand something. Let's say you guys are business partners, right? And you do 90% of the work, and your business partner do 10% of the work. The one who does 90% of the work will be pretty upset, right? When the paycheck come and y'all split it and y'all bust it down the middle, 50-50. I'm unsure if Derrick James was pushing this point, but what I got from the Bob Arum interview is they just going to wait for the pressures to be, and that's the fans say make this fight. You know, they're not doing nothing extra to promote Terrence Crawford. You know, he said 23 million people saw Earl Spence at the Cowboys game. He's definitely had 2 pay-per-views. Terrence Crawford has had 2 pay-per-views. We learned today that Terrence Crawford's pay-per-view against Amir Khan did 120,000 buys. And we also know that Top Rank puts up 100% of the bill. ESPN just gives the visual rights, you know, and they're just a promotional arm for Top Rank. I didn't know that they didn't give them money. That's, in my humble opinion, that's the difference between the Fox deal, and I'll do a video on that later in terms of Al Heyman and his ability to get money from the networks. Remember, he paid first. The $500 million slush fund, you know, that people called it. You know, he can't keep up with this. And now they paid him $64 million. I don't know what the number was, but it was something outstanding. But as I digress back into this interview, Derrick James is making some good points. Now, let me make this disclaimer. I want to see Earl Spence versus Terrence Crawford, but there's a lot of pride involved, and in my humble opinion, rightfully so. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Serial entrepreneur. I haven't clocked in since I was 27 years old. I'm 41. I haven't worked for anyone in 15 years now. You know, so I completely understand the PBC and the Derrick James mindset versus the Top Rank and Bob Arum mindset. He's going to go fight Fried Green Tomato, Mean Machine, Green Machine, one of the 3. Whereas Earl Spence is going to do the heavy lifting on the PBC side. He has he just defeated Sean Porter. It's been rumored that he's going to fight Danny Garcia. Manny Pacquiao is still in the clouds somewhere, obviously. Or a rematch with Sean Porter. Either of those 3 names, right, is significantly better than Terrence Crawford options. Remember I told you a couple minutes ago about the 90-10 rule? You're doing 90% of the lifting. Terrence Crawford is doing 10% of the lifting. I don't know how you equate that, but it's definitely at least, at the very least, 70-30. Fighting Sean Porter to Danny Garcia to Manny Pacquiao, or fighting Sean Porter to Manny Pacquiao to Danny Garcia, far, exceedingly goes beyond Terrence Crawford's opponents. You know, I said once they sign that contract and that fight is announced, Terrence Crawford is removed from #1 pound for pound best fighter in the world. That's just it. It's like an RPI ranking when you go into the NC2A tournament. I don't know what that what that index is that they put at the bottom of the line on ESPN, his index is going to lower once he signs off the fight Fried Green Tomato. You understand what I'm saying? And Errol Spence increases because he just fought Sean Porter, who's a tough opponent for everybody. He will be a tough opponent for Terrence Crawford. He was a tough opponent for everyone at the welterweight division thus far. You know, he's lost. Errol Spence was the widest margin he's lost in a while. You know, so let me go in the library so y'all can. Y'all got the kids in the background. Hopefully this helps. So what I'm saying is this, is that Derrick James made great points. Which fight is a bigger fight? Manny Pacquiao or Terrence Crawford? Now, to answer this question, you must accept the fact that Bob Arum hid or protected Manny Pacquiao from Terrence Crawford. That's a huge component in this big melee. If Terrence Crawford beats Manny Pacquiao, he's roaring down Errol Spence's throat. Roaring. I beat Manny Pacquiao. I'm a bigger star. We just sold out T-Mobile. That fight probably would have been in T-Mobile Arena. Sold out. 22,000 people. Easy. On a Sunday. During football season. That fight sells out. You know? And the bad management and the bad management on Top Rank is applying enormous pressure that literally shouldn't be there. You understand? It literally shouldn't be there. Terrence Crawford should have already fought Manny Pacquiao. Maybe twice. Maybe it's a rematch. You know? And he has Manny Pacquiao's head on his mantle. You know, it's no way in hell Manny Pacquiao should be floating around PBC as a stepping stone for Errol Spence, or quote-unquote stepping stone for Errol Spence. Now, as soon as that fight is announced, that fight sells 70% of its arena. Guaranteed. You know? I don't know what the gate does, but wherever that fight is, you can put Vegas prices on it. If it's in Barclay, you can charge Vegas prices. If it's at Dallas Cowboy Stadium, you can put Vegas prices on it. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I think it's just quite essential that we see the big picture in this. I'm going to repeat and reiterate. Terrence Crawford should already have Manny Pacquiao. I've asked Bob Arum in February when I went to the fight in Fresno. He said he protected Manny Pacquiao from Terrence Crawford. That's it. That tells you a lot of the trajectory of Terrence Crawford and why his growth has been halted. Now, we're going to go back and forth for this conversation. It's going to make great content. This is going to keep everyone engaged. You know, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, Floyd, Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. We're going to be talking about this probably for another 6 to 9 months before it even has a thought of coming to fruition. And it makes a great conversation. It's great side stories, back stories, small stories, big stories. But Derrick James has a point. You mean to tell me I'm going to do 90% of the work and you do 10% of the work and you get 50-50 just as Bob Arum suggested? Ain't no nigga that's going to listen to this video going to sign up to that in their real life. I repeat, ain't no nigga going to sign up for that 50-50 when the person that did 90% going to give the one 50% that did 10% in real life. Just being 100. Now, the uneven flow of it may change. 60 to 40, then Terrence do 60, then Earl do 40. Then you got a 50-50 fight. I'm only being honest. And I repeat, do I want to see Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford? Tomorrow, I want to see that fight. But I have to respect the rules of engagement. And I'm not choosing PBC over Top Rank. I'm talking about the logistics into how Terrence Crawford was moved versus how Earl Spence was moved. And you can say the same thing about Wilder versus Fury. Wilder was the gentleman in the deal and said we gonna bust this down the middle. Did some of the biggest arguments was Tyson Fury didn't deserve it, but because Deontay Wilder agreed to it, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Fuck all day. Fuck all night. Was that my Lost Boys? Where my Lost Boys fans at? And yeah, man, it's that was a really good interview by Blue Blood, by the way. Derrick James was itching to talk too. He was like, hold up. He was waiting on a 20-minute interview. Oh man. So yeah, man. I agree with Derrick James. I'm not gonna give a nigga 50% of my check of the profits when he only did 10% of the work. I'm not bred that way. I'm a serial entrepreneur. How many businesses do I have? I mean, god damn. Only if you knew. You know what I mean? And no, don't make sense. It's like you have $100,000 and the person with no money wants you to risk $100,000 on their idea. Hell no, nigga. You come up with $50,000 and I put up 50 and we bust this hole down the middle. But you wanted me to invest my $100,000 in your idea, and you have a Mercedes, and you pulled up in a Mercedes Benz, and you got jewelry on your neck. You got 5 chains around your neck. Last time I checked, you had 5 chains on your neck. You know what I mean? You live in a house. Pull the equity out of your home. You go out every Friday. You go to Taco Tuesday. Meanwhile, I'm being conservative, doing the right thing, cutting off all the fat in my life so I can save money and have a sense of mobility about my life because I've saved $100,000. Now, all my niggas that earn money gonna understand where this is coming from. I'm not the one trying to slow down this fight. All right. However, if for real, the only way this fight happens if Terrence Crawford concedes a percentage. Terrence Crawford said it's a 50-50 fight. Bob Arum says a 50-50 fight today. And it's no way in hell Derrick James and Errol Spence believe this is a 50-50 fight. So how do we make this fight happen next? You tell Terrence Crawford and Bob Arum they're being delusional about the splits. I'm only being honest. I'm only being real. You know, if Manny Pacquiao, the 8 division world champion, can concede to Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao is more decorated than Floyd Mayweather. Terrence Crawford's more decorated than Errol Spence. Who's more polarizing? Who sells more tickets? Who sells more pay-per-views? Who's more noticeable? Who's more likable? Who has a bigger engine behind them? Come on, man. Let's tell the truth. So, to summarize everything, every time Bob Arum and Terrence Crawford say 50-50, they don't want the fight. I repeat, every time Bob Arum and Terrence Crawford say 50-50, they don't want the fight. It's our job to be pragmatic. Or the most famous term in media, unbiased. Well, we're going to be unbiased towards numbers, right? I don't know what their percentage splits is, but it can't be 50-50 for this fight to happen. Now, people say we ain't going to talk about money, we ain't going to talk. I'm talking about common sense. Ain't no nigga going to knock on my door and sell me $1 million dream. Right? He want me to invest $100,000 when he don't know that I had to become a vegetarian for 10 years because I couldn't afford to eat meat. I was a vegetarian because I couldn't afford food. I had a rice cooker, put my brown beans in a rice cooker, and I bought those 79-cent black beans from Trader Joe's for damn near 5 to 10 years. I drove a 1992 Previa for over 10 years. And you think you can knock on my door because I have this immaculate home and I look like I have money and I look like I've saved some money. You can knock on my door with $1 million idea and say, I want you to invest. You get a 20% return and I keep 80%. I was homeless for 2 years though. See, people don't respect other people's hustle. You understand? They just see the finished product and say, oh, it's okay. You're not supposed to value your work ethic that led to you amassing this wealth. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. I know boxing fans. I know we want what we want. I get it. There's a lot of pride in this fight. There's a lot of egos in this fight. And I agree. If they can make the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder fight, they damn sure can make the Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford fight. But if Bob Arum and Terrence Crawford are steadfast on 50-50, we go nowhere. That's it. That's the best fight to be made in boxing today, right? Is it the biggest fight? No. Deontay Wilder, Andy Ruiz is Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua is the bigger fight. Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence is the bigger fight. These are facts. So we got to make decisions, man. Who's going to knock? Is a nigga worthy of going 70-30 with you when you done put 2 kids through college? Saved with your wife or your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend for 25, 30 years. You done saved up $500,000 to $1 million in assets and liquid cash and equity in your properties for some nigga to knock on your door. Your friend to knock on your door who didn't make the same sacrifices you had. He partied every weekend, had more beautiful women than you, drove better cars than you, traveled the world more than you. For him to knock on your door and say, give me $100,000 and I'm going to give you a 30% return and I keep 70. Is that fair? Nah, nigga, you give 10%. It took me 30 years to get here. Only niggas that earn money every day gonna understand what I'm saying. I repeat, only niggas that earn money for a living gonna respect what I'm saying. And you gotta respect the fact that Errol Spence went through the amateurs and Derrick James probably was training for free early on in his career. That's that sweat equity to put themselves in this position. They made a conscious decision to sign with Al Heyman. Errol Spence said publicly, Top Rank offered him front money, but the long-term investment was with Al Heyman. If I'm paraphrasing his quote, I'm not quoting him. All right. So Derrick James versus Bob Arum. I'm glad I listened to Derrick James' interview today, and I interviewed Bob Arum today because it's very important that we understand sweat equity. It's very, very important that we understand sweat equity and we value another man's sweat equity. All right? When a nigga charge you $20 for something, you don't know what he did to get there. It's like when I go on runs, right? And simple equation. I go on runs sometimes, right? And I get my friends, they drive by me sometimes like, nigga, you running pretty slow right now. What's wrong? Your back hurt? Your legs hurt? And I just laugh and wave my hand and I may snicker something back. But the point I'm making is they don't know how far I've run to get to that point. They just seeing where I'm at today. They don't know I just ran 6 miles to get to that point. That's exactly what I'm saying. You never know the sacrifices people make. But when you do, like in this case, you respect the sacrifice they make. He went through hell and high water against Sean Porter. He should be rewarded for that. That's all I'm saying. Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free, hit the subscribe button. Oh, before I end this, I want to double down, triple down, quadruple down. I don't know what 5 is. What's 5? Put it in the comment section. Cien? Cinco? Cien? So that's 5? I don't know. Y'all tell me. I want this fight. But the more they say it's a 50-50 fight, the more I believe they don't want it. And I'm talking from a strictly numbers. Yeah, I'm probably more pro Errol Spence because I see him more. He graces me with interviews. So I have a media relationship with Errol Spence. Yeah, that's natural. That's natural. I'm going to naturally slant towards that side. Okay? Easy. And moving forward, Deontay Wilder's coming up. Me and Deontay, man, come on. Y'all already know. I'm going to slant this. This is going to be the Deontay Wilder channel. Probably after we get through. Don't forget Carissa Shields fights this Saturday. So it may be skewed quite a bit. You guys may have heard my past video and say, oh, you just making this video to protect Errol Spence. Nah, I'm really not. I'm just having common sense right now. I got niggas paying rent right now. What's today's date? The 2nd, right? Niggas are paying rent yesterday, today. They got to the 5th to pay rent, and then they get a late fee, right? The nerve of me to say, hey, nigga, come on. Come be my business partner. I already done bought the buildings. Hey, I'm gonna give you half. I'm gonna give you half of my rents. Come on, y'all. I'm a numbers guy, and I'm a very pragmatic, shrewd businessman. I learned a long time ago, and understand it's the most invisible person in the world is a smiling Negro. I smile because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. You know what I mean? Where Deontay Wilder at so we can sing these Negro spirituals. But what I'm saying is, I also smile to disarm motherfuckers too. That's going to sink in when you become a mature man and you wake up and you're in your zen, you're in your alchemy phase, and you're like sitting in your couch and you fucking wake up. Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.